Good afternoon. I'm Charles Lejano. This is One News Now. Leyte is among the country's most disaster-prone provinces. And as we speak, residents of Leyte are still reeling from the aftermath of Tropical Depression Agaton. To give us some insight on this, we have UP Resilience Institute Executive Director Mahar Lagmay. Good afternoon, Director. Thank you for sparing some time with us this afternoon. Could you tell us what makes Leyte particularly prone to landslides? Is it the amount of rainfall from typhoons, or is it the geography of the area in general?
Well, to answer that question, it's not only Leyte that is prone to landslides. In fact, many of the places in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao are vulnerable to landslides because there are mountain slopes that have been weakened through time. Now, these parts of the mountains that have been weakened are being pulled by gravity, and gravity never sleeps. It takes a trigger to get them to finally collapse and form what we call as a landslide. And those triggers may include heavy rainfall, like what happened in the past few days in Leyte, or it could be an earthquake where there's ground shaking that makes all of these unstable slopes in mountain areas or mountainous areas to eventually collapse and form what we call as landslides.
All right, you mentioned a lot of factors, Director, but then let's zero in on rainfall for now. We get a bunch of rainfall, especially at around this time of the year and the months that come after. How much rainfall does it normally take to saturate an area of land and cause these landslides?
Well, it depends on the area. It depends on the soil type. It depends on the slopes of the mountains. What are the unstable slopes? Those must be identified. And the amount of rainfall to trigger or eventually get those unstable mountain slopes to collapse, they're variable. But as a rule of thumb, as a general rule, we have established that 100 millimeters of rainfall in one day, that's in 24 hours, is something to be worried about. We looked at different landslides, and that general rule of thumb of about 100 millimeters would be a cause of concern to watch out for landslides.
Right, Director, that begs the question, these rainfall amounts, let's call it a normal thing that happens year to year, what can be done in case of these slow-moving cyclones that normally would pass over these landslide-prone areas? As of now, I'm thinking the disaster response could be a little better.
Yes, actually, the amount of rainfall was predicted days in advance. In fact, you could see a lot of forecasts pinpointing Leyte exactly to be receiving more than 200 millimeters of rain per day. That's way above the 100 millimeters of rain per day that I was mentioning to you about, which is the general rule of thumb. Now, since it was 200 millimeters of rain in the forecasts, that would be enough, or that should have been enough to trigger the response, the appropriate response of evacuating the people out of harm's way. But of course, it is also important to identify those places that are, quote unquote, are out of harm's way. That's why we have hazard maps. And the hazard maps not only should depict where the hazardous areas for landslides are, but also the places where the evacuation sites are safe to be placed. So it's not just for evacuation centers, by the way. It's for the overall development of communities. Development should progress or should occur or happen in areas that are the safest places within a community. And there are many places in the Philippines that are still out of harm's way in terms of landslides.
Thank you for your insight, and I hope these do not fall on deaf ears. That was UP Resilience Institute Executive Director Mahar Lagmay.
Thank you very much.
The death toll from Agaton has gone up to 43. That's according to the NDRRMC. In today's Laging Handa briefing, NDRRMC spokesperson Mark Timbal said 37 of these casualties were from the series of landslides in Leyte. The rest are cases of drowning in Regions 7 and 11. And Timbal added that more than 34,000 individuals are currently staying in over 300 evacuation centers.
Tuloy po ang pagpo-provide ng ating pamahalaan ng family food packs and other forms of assistance dito sa mga kababayan natin. Sa katunayan nga po, umabot na po ng 21 million pesos worth ang ating humanitarian assistance.
The low-pressure area, formerly Tropical Depression Agaton, has dissipated as of this morning. However, Pag-asa says scattered rain showers will still prevail over Quezon, the Bicol region, Oriental Mindoro, Marinduque, Romblon, and the Visayas. Meanwhile, search and rescue operations are still ongoing for missing residents in Leyte. In Barangay Cantagnos, at least 300 residents are reportedly still unaccounted for. We'll have more stories after a quick break. Keep it here. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. One political analyst believes that presidential candidates with low survey numbers choose not to withdraw from the race because of pride and ego. De La Salle University political science professor Julio Tejanqui told the Chiefs that backing out is the best move for these low-ranking bets. However, he says political interests prevent them from endorsing the candidate with the best chance of winning the elections. Candidates ranking below Bongbong Marcos and Vice President Leni Robredo in surveys have all insisted that they are not backing out of the presidential race.
Everyone thinks that they can win and do it on their own. But, you know, the optimal solution really here at this point in time is for the non-competitive candidates to support whoever is more competitive.
COMELEC Commissioner Socorro Inting has stepped down as the head of the committee handling gun ban concerns. This is in protest against the Unbank's decision to allow Chairman Saidamin Pangarungan to unilaterally issue gun ban exemptions to declare certain areas under the poll body's control. Fellow Senior Commissioner Amy Ferolino wore black in today's session to support Inting's move. The crowd at the Ateneo LaSalle basketball game turned pink in support of Vice President Leni Robredo for next month's elections. Here's the report.
Excellent defense. Andrade, nowhere to go.
UAAP fans were expecting heavy rivalry between the Ateneo Blue Eagles and the DLSU Green Archers at yesterday's game. Instead, they were treated to a sea of pink. This, as students and supporters of both universities heeded the call of school administrators to show their support for Vice President Leni Robredo's presidential bid. Both schools made the announcement on Monday night, with Ateneo President Father Bobby Yap and LaSalle President Brother Bernie Oca urging students to drop their school colors and wear any shade of pink for the big game. The announcement was met with mixed reactions on social media. Some found it revolting bringing politics into sports, while others seem to agree that there is no better time to show their support for Robredo. Fans who attended the game at the MOA Arena also brought an open mind when it comes to sports, sharing center stage with political views.
Actually, for me, I think sports is mixed with politics po talaga. And to those people who say na sports isn't about politics, they're actually wrong. Kasi ang dami po talagang naapektuhan ng politics sa sports.
Let Leni lead. So we're all here. I mean, all of us are here to support not only our team, but of course our future president. So, laban Leni. Yeah.
But despite uniting behind a single color, the game is the game for ADMO and DLSU. In the end, LaSalle failed to find an antidote to Ateneo's domination of the league. The Blue Eagles remained unbeaten as they took the game 75-68. Meanwhile, the UP Fighting Maroons extended their win streak to 7, their longest win streak in 17 years after beating the NU Bulldogs 80-70. Richie Rivero had an impressive outing with 16 points after struggling to put up his numbers over UP's last 2 games. For its part, the Adamson Soaring Falcons halted their 5-game losing skid after a nail-biting escape against the FEU Tamaraws 64-63. And finally, the UST Growling Tigers kept their Final Four hopes alive after taking down the UE Red Warriors 72-61. This puts UST back at tied 5th place with FEU, while UE remained winless.
For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. And you can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Charles Lejano. We're One News.